What up, everybody? On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about dvsn's new album, Morning After. You ready? Here we go.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry.
Yeah. What up, everybody? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B kid, and you're tuned into another episode of On the Bright Side. This is your first time on my channel. Please go ahead and like this video. Click that like button right there. Share this video, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel. On this channel, I talk all things music and entertainment. We'll always keep things positive. Always find the bright side of everything. Alright, y'all, so dvsn just dropped their second studio album called Morning After this past Friday, October 13, 2017. And this is their second studio album, and they released it on OVO, which is Drake's label, and Warner Bros. Records as well. So this album didn't really come with any type of, preceding hit singles, but that's the norm for them. It was the same thing for their last album. That album didn't really have any big hits. But dvsn is really known as somewhat of a, I wouldn't say underground, but they're an R&B act who's building their way up into the mainstream. Their sound is very versed in really like late night, down-tempo grooves. The main singer of the group, I think his name is Daniel. He's known for his falsetto, and the other half of the duo is the producer 1985. 1985, if you guys don't know him, you know his music. He's the guy that's produced every type of like like Afrobeat, tropical dancehall song that's come out by like Drake and people like that recently. He produced One Dance. 1985 produced Truffle Butter by Nicki Minaj, Drake, and Lil Wayne. He produced all types of, he's produced pretty much so much stuff for Drake in the past year or two. A lot of his hit singles. He also produced Hotline Bling. So yeah, pretty much any like recent song that's come out by Drake that's like kind of had some like cool fusion sound to it, I bet you it was 1985 who produced it. So he, along with Daniel, are the two guys that make up this duo of a group. 1985 is the main producer for the group. He produces all the songs. And then Daniel is the singer for the group. He sings all the songs. And I love their sound. Their sound, like I said, is a really like late night, groovy, down tempo sound. And they purposely have made their sound that way because they said they want to stray away from the pack of R&B acts really honing their sound on the trap wave going on right now, and I commend them for that. Alrighty guys, so jumping into some of the singles off of this album, the 3 singles that have come off this album preceding it have been Think About Me, Don't Choose, and Mood. The song Think About Me, I think that song is nice. I think it needed a little bit more punch in it. I think it needed something to kind of bring it home a little bit more. But it has nice vocals on the song, great vocals by Daniel. And I feel like it's a song that everyone can relate to in terms of, having that ex or that person in your life, like who they're either thinking about you or you wonder if they're thinking about you all the time. So I think everyone can relate to that song. It had a great structure, but I just think it needed something more to kind of take it to a better place. But it was a nice single choice. So that was one of the songs that you might have heard if you haven't heard the album yet. So talking about the next single off this album, the next single off this album was called Don't Choose, and that song was okay to me. Pretty nice. I think what I loved about the song was that it had a great, nice like trap and B, or I guess like trap R&B beat. I think the lyrics could have been a little bit more tighter, but it was a cool song for what it was. Not a bad single choice. So that might have been one of the songs you heard before you heard this album, and I think it was an okay record. Okay, so talking about one of the last singles that's come off the album preceding it, I want to talk about the song Mood. That's track number 6. I love this song. I think it's one of the best songs on the album. For me, it was a highlight. This song really took me back to their first project, which was called September 5th. That came out around April of last year, I believe. This song I love because to me it's the perfect example of what's I think what dvsn sounds best at as a group, which is really having Daniel with his falsetto voice singing over a really like slinky boom bap like late night R&B beat, so I really just liked the way they structured the song. It was really sexy. I think the electric guitar at the end of the song was really nice. It was a nice touch. It's just a really nice, like, sexy late night R&B record. And I think this song, yeah, I would say I think this song is like one of the best examples of like what they do best, and you know what their vibe really is. I think this song was a good choice as a single. They put it out right before the album came out, and I just think Daniel's voice just sounds best when he's like really in that falsetto mode throughout the verses, and then you have a really like slinky beat, like slinky R&B late night beat for the hook. So I think this type of song is really effective for them. It really works for them, and this is when they're in their best pocket. I think they need to keep on going with songs like this because it kind of it sounds like not a lot of stuff out right now, and you really get that signature Division sound on songs like Mood. So I think this is one of the best songs in the album, and definitely a highlight for me. Okay, so one of the other songs that I really loved off this album that was a highlight for me was a song called P.O.V. That song, shout out to the Maxwell interpretation. They sampled Maxwell's Fortunate, I believe, yeah, Fortunate. That song was a nice little homage to that song by Maxwell. That's a 90s classic record right there. And I really like this song because it just had a really nice, like, you know, R&B beat. And I just love how they use the Maxwell sample effectively to kind of bring it into a new generation. Yeah, that song was just a really nice record. So I really like that one. So one of the songs that caught me instantly when I first heard this album was track number 3 called Keep Calm. I think that's one of the better songs on the record. This song was really sexy, and I think what I really liked about the song is that it had a cool lyrical structure. It was pretty much you know, they were talking about having pretty much the song was translating to saying I need you to keep calm because you're about to have a good night. Like, you know, it's a sexual song, but I just kind of liked how it was different from a lot of sexual songs out right now. It's not, it didn't just get to the point of saying we're gonna do, you know, we're gonna do what we're gonna do. It was really talking about, you know, I like how they took a different approach to that, to, you know, to a sexual song. It was just saying keep calm and be ready for what's about to happen, because, you know, and I know I probably not weird talking about it, but it's like I just liked how they really kind of took a sexual theme and really like flipped it and made it different. It was a nice change of pace from a lot of other sexual songs out right now, and I just liked how it simmered and it built up throughout the record. And this song kind of reminded me of a lot of songs you would hear in their first project, where it kind of simmered and it gradually builds as the song went on, and they really had a different type of lyrical structure for the song. It wasn't the typical, yeah, we about to freak all night type of record. It really was taking a different lyrical approach to saying, you know, really like keep calm because you about to have a really good night, you know, ahead of you. Like, just be ready for what's about to happen. Like, I thought that was just cool and different for this day and age where everybody just wants to get to the point in different songs, and no one wants to kind of build up to really no one really wants to build up to that message, and no one really wants to kind of take the creative approach of talking about sex in a really like cool and unique way, or in a really like deep way. So that was a really nice song. The first 2 songs off this album were kind of boring for me, Runaway and Nut Time / Tech Time. But then as soon as the third track came in, Keep Calm, I was really engaged in the record because it sounded different, and it really it was a song that you like to pay attention to really like understand what it was talking about, and it just had a really dope vibe. So I really liked it. I also really love like the spacey synths in the record as well. It had really nice like spacey synths that kind of just like really allowed you to vibe out to the record. So to me, that was one of the better songs on the album. Another song I really liked off this album was the title track called Morning After. That was track number 9. I really thought this song was interesting. It really grabbed me because it was one of the only songs that sounded like it on the album. It had a really up-tempo, tropical Afro beat influence in the song, and I really liked the Afro beat hand claps in the record. It really caught my attention when I first heard the album. I thought it was a nice change of pace for the album because the album kind of, you know, really went along at kind of one tempo. But when Morning After came on, it really was upbeat and, you know, tropical, and it had a really nice Afro beat influence that really grabbed me on first listen. And like I said, I really love the hand clap beats. And I just love the way they vocally arranged that song. It was really nice. It had a lot of layers, and I just liked I just like the lyrics. He was talking about, you know, he was the group was talking about, I want you to be the lady I'm with the morning after. So I don't want you to just be another lady. I want you to be the one I'm with the morning after. So I thought that was a nice message, like, and it really had a nice, you know, really nice, you know, Afro beat, tropical beat that kind of grabbed you compared to all the other songs in the album, which had a really, like, you know, sleepy late night R&B groove to them. So Morning After was definitely one of my favorite tracks on the album. Alright, so one of the last songs I want to talk about that I really liked off this album was the song called Claim. I think that would be a nice single choice. Division, if y'all see this video, I think it'll be a good single choice. I really think that song is a nice song because it kind of gives me like really new age classic R&B vibes. That song had a really nice guitar loop in the verses that I think just reminded me of like a lot of jams you probably hear in the, you know, in the 2000s. And I really just I like the way that song really went along. It had nice cute lyrics. Pretty much saying like, he pretty much saying like, I wanna claim you and you need to be claimed. I like how they really took a lot of like, you know, different approaches lyrically with romance and love with this album. And this is one of those songs where it wasn't just saying I'm about to get in your pants and we about to make love all night. It was just saying like, are you claimed yet? And if you're not claimed, like, can I be the one to claim you? So I really thought that was a nice, like, a nice way to approach that record. The lyrics were dope, and yeah, I just think it was an album highlight. I think it'll be a good choice for a single. It really, to me, it could be like a nice, like, low-key R&B, like, new age classic, if given the chance. Okay, so for the songs I did not like that much off the album, it was just a few of them. I would say I really didn't like the first two songs off the album. Knowing who Division is, I really thought they'd hit the intro for the album very hard. Well, I mean, as hard as they can, because they're a very late night R&B focused group. But I just thought it would kind of hit a little bit harder than it did. But Runaway was kind of boring to me. That was the first track off the album. And then Nut Time / Tech Time was the second track off the album. And it was just kind of boring to me. You know, a lot of these songs had, like, you know, alright beats, but they were just kind of unengaging and kind of boring. And it was hard for me to really pay attention to the first two tracks. I thought it was a very, like, whack way to open the album, because it didn't really allow you to, if like the first two tracks don't allow you to see that there's better tracks coming down, you know, coming down the line for the album, because they kind of opened up the album in a very boring way. And another song I really didn't like off the album was track number 8, which was called You Do. To me, that song just had a really boring instrumental. It had a boring vocal performance by Daniel, and the lyrics were just boring. That whole song was just boring as hell to me. I didn't like You Do at all. Yeah, another song I really didn't like off this album was the song called Can't Wait. That was track number 10. I thought it had a great message, but I just thought it was really boring, and it kind of just floated along. It wasn't really that engaging, and to me it was one of those songs that kind of was just filler for the album. Oh, actually, yeah, another song I almost forgot to talk about off this album was a song called Body Smile. I think that's another example of a song on this album where they took a really cool and unique lyrical approach to the song. You know, the song was saying, I want to make your body smile. I just thought this album was interesting because it kind of, it reminded me of how music used to be approached back in the day, where it wasn't all about getting to sex immediately. And, you know, like I said before in the review, they really... you know, a lot of R&B artists really used to take creative approaches to the lyrics that would lace songs, and Body Smile to me was an example of one of those, like, you know, 90s late night records that would kind of have a unique lyrical approach to talking about sex and relationships, but not being so outright with it. And it had a really nice, like, groove. And I just like the way they approached the song with saying, I want to make your body smile. So I thought that was a really, like, nice record, and, you know, a different type of record for today's age, you know. Okay, guys, so that was my thoughts about all the tracks on the album. In terms of the album as a whole, my thoughts are that, you know, I think this album benefited from having, you know, I think the album highlights really had a lot of great, you know, R&B, you know, soundscapes. It really had a lot of the production on this album was very lush, and, you know, it really can put you in a vibe, in a groove that is, that's really nice to be in. Yeah, so I shout out 1985 for a lot of the dope production on the album, and some other producers contribute to the album, including 40, who's Drake's main producer, also known as Noah. I think it's Noah Shabib, I think. So 40 co-produced some tracks as well. Manish produced a track, I think, and he's one of the producers on One Dance. So we have some other people contribute to this album, but mainly 1985 produced it, and I think one of the highlights of this album was his production, and a lot of the grooves were really tight, and really nice for like late night chill sessions with friends, with your partner and stuff like that. So that was the good part about the album. But I think it also that also worked to the album's disadvantage, because while a lot of production sounded great, it tended to sound the same. And I think some of the best albums in history have been made by like one or two producers. I think some of the best albums in history really have had that format of just really like having a tight team of people, obviously one artist and like maybe one or two producers and a small team of songwriters. I feel like that formula has produced some of the best albums in history. But in this case, this is one of those situations where it didn't really work out in its favor. And I think having 1985 produce most of the tracks on this album, I mean, he's obviously in the group, so he should be producing most of the tracks on the album. But I think it ended up making a lot of the songs sound the same. And I think when the average listener will get through the end of this album, I think they'll kind of think, okay, it'll be hard for them to discern every single song, and they'll kind of think they just listen to one long song besides a few tracks. So I think that's what hurt the album, is the fact that it really did have a hard time, I think, kind of keeping your attention with different types of tempos and different types of soundscapes, because there was one producer who kind of has one type of sound. So that was what hurt this album at the end of the day. But some people might not have a problem with that, but that was something I did pick up on. Yeah, guys, so like I was saying before, I think some of the best things about this album really is I think the sound, the R&B lush soundscapes that they had throughout the project, as well as all the cool lyrical arrangements they had in the songs. And I think a lot of the songs really had cool lyrical approaches, and I just think the foundation, a lot of the messages in a lot of these songs are really dope. But unfortunately, what hurts the album, I think, is the fact that I think Division really wanted the album to kind of be one long vibe. And while that's cool in certain cases, I think it ended up making this album not as good as I think it could have been. I think this album had more changes in tempo, and if it had more addition of instruments and different changes in production, I think it could have jumped out at you more, and it could have held a listener's attention more. But if you're a fan of Division, I don't think you'll be disappointed by the album a lot. But I think you will have wanted there to be a little bit less filler and more really engaging tracks on the album. But as a fan of Division, I don't think this album is as good as their last album, but I think it was good for what it was. To me, September 5th, which is their first album, I think that album was like one of the best projects that came out last year. It just had such dope production. A lot of the songs were just like really new age R&B vibes. I'm pretty sure y'all agree with me. If you're any fans of Division, I'm pretty sure you'll agree that September 5th was a better project. But this album is good for what it was. And not exactly a step backwards, but to me just not as fully realized as it could have been as an album. I think the theme of the album didn't really hold that well, and it didn't really I don't know, just the structure of the album didn't really seem like it really had a major purpose. It kind of just seemed like it was just one cool little R&B song coming after the next, and the album as a whole didn't really like give me this like really like clear narrative and this clear theme. But I definitely did enjoy the songs of the album for what they were. So some of my favorite tracks off the album, I'd say my favorite tracks were Keep Calm, Think About Me, I want to say Mood, and P.O.V. Those are two of my favorite tracks as well. And I also love the songs Morning After and Claim. I love those songs as well. The songs I didn't like off this album, the first two tracks, Runaway and Nut Time / Take Time, I didn't like those songs at all. And I also didn't really like You Do and Can't Wait. Those are the songs I didn't really like off this album at all. So for my rating for this album, I give this album a 3 out of 5. Or 3 out of 5. I guess I'm a 3 out of 5 because it wasn't bad, but it wasn't that great. And I just kept thinking about how good their first project was. So I kind of give it, just an average rating. Alrighty guys, so yeah, that was my review for Division's new album, Morning After. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the album in the comments. Let me know if you really liked the album. Let me know if you didn't like the album. I'd love to hear your favorite tracks, your least favorite tracks. And let me know what you thought about my review, okay? I'd love to hear your feedback, alright? So please guys, as always, continue to live your best life, drink more water, stay woke, and if you're mad, man, go listen to your favorite song, alright? Alright, yo, please like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel, alright? Go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more reviews like this and my thought pieces on different types of topics related to the music industry, alright? Please, guys, go ahead and do that. And this has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid, and I am signing off.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, 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 no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, no.